Hello everybody and welcome to a brand new Elder Scrolls Online guide video with me, Sherman. Today we're going to be talking about how to start out in Elder Scrolls. A lot of people ask me this all the time, like how do I start, progressing my character? What race should I go with? What class should I go with? And here's the honest truth. Don't worry about it in the beginning. From the get-go, do not worry about trying to have the best thing out the door. Just pick what you want, what you enjoy to play, and play that character. Because that's going to be the thing that's going to drive you the most, is playing something you enjoy. Now, like I said, or I've said many times before, I have friends that are very specific to the race they choose, and some of them are very, very picky about the role they play and how they play it. So in some cases, the way that Elder Scrolls is set up, finding that right combination can be difficult for some people. Like for me, for example, I'm an elf fan. So here we are on a high elf. This might be something I might play. I might play a wood elf, or I might play a dark elf. These are going to be the three main races that I will choose from because I'm an elf fan. I prefer to play elves. Now there are other races in the game. There's 11 in total. There's the Breton, which at one time were more, I would say, elves than they were human. They are kind of like a high elf race. Because they originally were humans who mingled with elves and became the Bretons. Then you have the High Elf race, which are the Altmer, and they're pretty much a Magicka-based race, but they don't have to be played that way. Then you have the Argonians, the Lizard-type people, you have the Orcs, you have Wood Elves, you have Dark Elves, you have Redguard, you have Khajiit, you have the Nord, and you have the Imperial. Now, the Imperial are not available to you in the beginning. It's something you have to buy in the cash shop, or you can, if you get the Imperial Edition, which is kind of hard to come by, but if you do happen across it, pick it up, and it's going to give you the Imperial to get right away. Now, each race has its benefits, and it gives you kind of a base description down here, what they're good at. As you can see, they reflect their training and perseverance in battle, giving them bonuses to gold drop rates, shields, health, and stamina. Now, each race offers different kinds of things. But again, go with what you prefer first. Now, like I said, I prefer elves, so we're going to go ahead and make this character a wood elf. Now, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to pick our class. And in this case, we have 5 classes. We have the Dragon Knight, and it kind of gives you a little bit about it. And if you actually click on their champion gear, it'll show you what they look like when they're all decked out in their gear, and we're going to leave it like that for now. So it says, these skillful master-at-arms use an ancient Akavari martial arts tradition of battle spirit and wield fearsome magic that pounds, shatters, and physically alters the world around them. They're very powerful. Depending on which way you go with them, they can be stamina versions, there's Magicka versions, there's tanks and healers. Those are and there is 3 roles in the game. We'll get to that after we get through these. So there's the Dragon Knight, there's the Sorcerer, there is the Nightblade, there's the Templar, and then there is the Warden. And each class has its own distinct kind of playstyle. Now, the Dragon Knight is more fire-based, they're poison-based, they're really dot-orientated. So this gives you this idea of, okay, if I want to play something like this, I can be very, I can be a fire mage, I can be a tank, I can be a healer, I can be a damage dealer. Stamina version of this, you're going to do a lot of poison damage, you're going to do, like I said, a lot of things around the Dragon Knight revolve around dots. Then you have the Sork. The Sork is basically, as it says here, conjuration. Sorcerers can use conjuration and destruction spells to hurl lightning bolts and create shock fields, wield dark magic and to snare and stun, and summon Daedric combat followers from Oblivion to assist them. You're pretty much your spellcaster. And they aren't just spellcasters. They could be stamina DPS as well. They can also be tanks and healers. Now, each class does have its defined role to some degree. Like the Dragon Knight is more optimized as a tank and fire DPS. The Sork is more lightning DPS and kind of to some degree support. And then you have the Nightblade, which is like your stealthy rogue type person, and they're kind of a mix. They're kind of a jack of all trades. They're really good at stamina DPS, they're really good at magic DPS, they're really good at healers, they're really good tanks, but they're kind of a mix of everything. They're not great at any one thing besides DPS. Then you have the Templar, which, as you can see, these traveling knights call upon the powers of the light and the burning sun to deal massive damage to their enemies while restoring health, magicka, stamina to their allies. They are pretty much your holy, they're like your paladin. They can be really good, powerful healers. They can be really powerful tanks. They can be really decent DPS. They don't have what other classes have to offer when it comes to that aspect, but they can be very powerful at any of those roles. Any class can be. And then you have the Warden, which is like the master of green, as it's the defenders of the green. They're basically like protectors of nature. They use a lot of spirit things. They use ice magic. They use nature healing. They use spirit animals and creatures to fight with them. They're very well rounded, and they're one of the most, in my opinion, well put together or lined out classes. Because with most classes, you kind of have to hunt around for finding the tank role, the healer role, and damage dealer role. And with the Warden, it's pretty much set that way in their skill trees. Now, depending on what class you go with, depends on a lot of different things. Like I said, with being a Dragon Knight, you get really a lot of poison-based, stamina DPS, fire-based, magicka DPS. They can tank, they can heal. It just depends. And it depends on each class on how they work. Like, Nightblades deal a lot of disease damage on the physical side. And on the magic side, they deal a lot of magic damage. They don't deal like lightning damage or fire damage like the Sork and the DK do. Instead, they focus mostly on magic damage, where the Templar focuses on magic and fire, and the Warden focuses more on magic and frost. So you have to find that right combination of what you're looking for when it comes to your class choice. Now for this, I'm going to go ahead and pick Dragon Knight. Just because. But I'm also going to change something here, guys. I'm going to change to Murkmire. This is going to allow me, I'm on PTS, this is going to allow me to make the build the way I want it right out the door. So I'm going to start off on my really low stats, a lot lower than what a new player will. But this will allow me to show you guys everything, like gear, skills, all that stuff. So let's go ahead and we're going to call this guy the Tester Noob. Alright, we're going to skip the tutorial. We're going to just log in, and then I'm going to show you guys what I mean by what I can do now. Because now I can go in, I can open, I have gearboxes available to me. I'm already at max CP, and I can show you the process of building out your character. So, the next thing you need to worry about while you're progressing your character is how and what you're going to do for your role. Now there's 3 roles in the game. There's damage dealer, tank, and healer. Now depending on which role you go for does determine which way it plays out. So if you choose to be a damage dealer, now you have to choose which type of damage dealer, whether it be magicka or stamina. So now, in this game, there is a way to play a stamina healer, but most healers are magicka based, just letting you know. Only the Warden can be a stamina healer. Alright, so here we are, we're in the world. We're on our cool new Wood Elf character. We're going to make this character a mix of things. We're going to start with damage, and then we're going to build our way through. But before I do that, I need to set some things up. I need to turn off the tutorials. That'll drive me crazy. And then I'm going to set my keybinds real quick, because I have a certain set of keybinds I like to use. We're just going to do that. And then I'm going to adjust this real quick, so I don't have it in my way all the time. Alright, so here we are. In the world, like I said, we have nothing done. We have no special gear. We have nothing. So a base character at max level, level 50, with no gear, no nothing, this is what they look like stat-wise. As you can see, we have really low stats. We have 7,000 magicka, health, and stamina. Now, a new player starting out actually has 14,000, 17,000, 14,000. And that's to give them more of a balanced play so that they're more equivalent to an in-game player. And as you progress in levels, once you hit level 30, all those bonuses go away. So the game boosts you at level 1 to keep you on par with higher level people to make the content not as difficult. Now, if I took this character and ran around the world with just white gear, I would get annihilated. So, alright. So now let's talk a little bit about gear. So, we're going to go ahead and make this character a stamina DPS character. Now, being a wood elf, I get a benefit of being a stamina-based character. Now, I'm going to go ahead and just leave this the way it is. We're going to go down here, and I'm going to show you my racial passives so you can see. So I get Ifri's Endurance. This is going to give me increased stamina recovery. Resist Affliction. This is going to increase my max stam, give me poison and disease resist, and I'm going to gain immunity to poison and disease status effects. And then I also get reduced detection radius in stealth and increased damage while in stealth. So not the greatest benefits if I want to be like a tank or something like that, but I do get those benefits for being stealthy. So I'm going to go ahead and fill in these in a minute, but we're going to talk about roles. So in here, as you can see, it says the Dragon Knight Initiate. This is a Magicka-based primary stat thing. Now these are something you can use, the Skill Advisor. And the Skill Advisor gives you different types of roles that you can play. So you have the Dragon Knight Initiate, you have the Inferno Dragon, you have the Venomous Dragon, the Stone Skin Dragon, the Elder Dragon, and then you can turn it off. So we're gonna go with one of these as our choice. So the Venomous Dragon is a stamina-based dragon build, Dragon Knight build, and we're gonna go with that. Now, you have to understand that with doing this, this is going to allow me as a player to progress my character and create a unique thing. So before we get any further, you will have gear as you progress through the game. Don't worry about having sets right away or a specific build. Use the gear that drops in the game to help you advance. If you're a new player, now if you're an experienced veteran player and you starting out a new character, you're going to start beefed up. You're going to be able to, produce, if you can produce sets and stuff, you can already create a basic build for your character. And I would suggest using something like, as for progression, I like to use just a simplified build system. And I use dropped jewelry, and I use a crafted set, and then I just use whatever helm and shoulders I can find. But I use the same crafted set as I progress. So, and I have it set for levels 10, 20, 30, 40, 40, and then once I hit 50, I go to CP 160. So, alright. So, going with this, it says to take Flurry, which is a dual wield skill. So we're going to go ahead and grab that. Next, we're going to grab Searing Strike. This is as you progress now. So we got Searing Strike. Next, it says take Twin Slashes, which is another dual wield skill. It's the next one in line. And then it says to take Slaughter, which is this. Combustion. So we're just going to go through and unlock this as I'm kind of talking about it. So what it's telling me to do is it's telling me to take specific skills to progress my character's growth in abilities. So this helps you kind of guide you in choices that you might want to go with that might offer you something better down the road. So medium armor, dexterity. Now it says to go back to the weapon skills, the dual wield, take Flurry, turn it into Bloodthirsty. And then it says take Venomous Claw, which is the class skill. Ardent Flame, it's this Searing Strike. We're going to morph it into Venomous Claw. We have our first Poison Dot. Next it says to get Blood Craze, which is a dual wield skill. So we're going to grab that. We're going to grab Blood Craze. And now it says go back to dual wield and grab Dual Wield Expert. Now, like I said, this is as you're progressing your character. This is what it's telling you to take to give you the greater benefits on your stuff. Now, we're just doing this because the game's giving us some options on skills to use. It's not something you have to do. but I would suggest doing this just to get started. So this way you can kind of get, it's kind of like I said, it's kind of like a guide tool to help you get through most of the skills in helping you advance and stuff. So now eventually what's going to happen is we're going to be able to get a second weapon, and we're going to want to keep focusing on these things that it tells us to until you get to the higher levels. Now I'm only telling you to do this route because this is going to give you just a nice slow, you know, growth to your character kind of thing. This isn't to say this is how you have to play it. Again, this is just kind of showing you what you can do as you progress and the things that you can take to do that. And then we got to go over here to Draconic. We got to change this to Take Flight. And it's not bad. A lot of these skills and stuff aren't bad. They're pretty nice. Okay, I'm gonna switch bars now because we're running out of stuff. Wow, there's a lot of stuff in there that I'm finding interesting for them to have me take. Because I've never really looked at this in a while, so. It does say igneous weapon, yep. And then igneous shield. Controlled fury. Accuracy. Battle War. And I'm just doing this, like I said, just to show you what this looks like as you progress. I'm not showing you gear or anything like that. I just want you to see what this looks like as you progress your character through this system. So and Controlled Fury again. Because this will take you all the way to max level, guys. You can use this build all the way up to max level. And it's great. I mean, it works out. It gives you, like I said, it gives you a decent amount of skills. But it also gives you a really interesting kind of layout and understanding of, okay, this works this way kind of thing. So just this is just my advice. Follow what it says here. Don't try to do something different outside of this, because you really just want to follow what it tells you to do. And this will give you, like I said, the most basic setup possible when it comes to your character. And it just gives you, like I said, again, it gives you a nice way to set up the character to begin with. So, and once we get it all done, I'm going to show you like how I would set the skills if I was going to continue playing it this way. Back to World and Ruin. And then Vigor, which is an Alliance War skill. Assault. Vigor. And there we go. We're done with all the skills. So these are the skills it suggests we use. So what we're going to do is we're going to just adjust some of these to make it more playable, to a playable liking, I guess. And then what we're going to do is we're actually going to go get gear next. Now, with all the skills and everything, we will also be able to produce our racials. So we're going to go ahead and do all of our racials too, because this will be able to be maxed out by the time you hit 50. So, and then all these other skills are just skills that you learn along the way, as you can see. So now that we've got the build somewhat maxed out with skills, let's go ahead and take a look at what gear we can take also. So, if you haven't progressed through levels like other things, some of the sets you're going to have access to are mostly overland sets. So we have access to Swordsinger, Spriggans, Defiler, Veld Inheritance, Stygian, Way of Air, Night Mothers, Fjord's Legacy, Hide of the Werewolf, Ranger's Guile, or Gate, Wilderness, or Wilder Queen's Arch, Salvation, Sinche's Bite, Dark Stride, Swamp Raider, Shadow of the Mountain, Red Mountain, Night Terror, Witchman's, Flanking, Briarheart, which might be one I might go with, Fathomable Darkness, Syrian Scales, Griffin's Ferocity, and Dead Water's Guile. Now, for this build, since we're going to be starting in Somerset, basically, I'm going to actually use Griffin's Ferocity as a drop set to use, because it's not hard to get a hold of as you're progressing. So we're going to just use this as a starter set. So we've got this set. We're going to go ahead and equip it, 5 pieces of it. Alright, so we've got our beginning set. Now we need another set to complement this set. Now a lot of times I would suggest just using another overland set, which we're going to do. So we're going to use another overland set, something that's going to give us some advantages. So I'm going to go with Night Mother's Embrace. Now this drops in Deshawn, as you can see, medium armor set found in Deshawn. And we're going to use this as our second set that we have. Now this isn't the greatest build. This is a build that you would use to help you get into get you into dungeons, doing dungeons. So we're going to go ahead and take the weapons and the jewelry from this. So I'm going to go ahead and grab the jewelry. Now you got to pretend I'm farming this stuff out, okay? And we're going to grab the weapons. We're going to grab a sword. We're going to grab an axe, and then we're going to grab a bow. So these are the weapons that I've picked up, we'll say, because you never get exactly what you want. So, but we got those dual wield weapons, so we can use this with our flurry, and we can use this. And then on top of that, we also get the benefits of our dual wield passives that we took. As we were leveling, we took Slaughter, which increases our dual wield abilities by 20% against enemies with under 25% health. We took Dual Wield Expert, increases weapon damage by 6% of your offhand. We took this, which reduces the cost of dual wield abilities by 15%. We didn't take Ruffian, which gives you when attacking stunned, immobilized, disorientated, or silenced enemies, but we did take Twin Blade and Blunt. So using an axe, we get an 8% chance to apply a bleed, and using a sword, we get increased damage by 2.5%. So we're going to go ahead and stick with this setup. It's not the greatest, guys, don't get me wrong, but we're going to stick with this. And now we're going to go with another drop set. Now the reason we're going with another drop set is this will allow us to expand on our other sets. So I'm looking here, I want to get something that's going to give me some advantages to my character, but I think what I want to do is I want to build out a little bit more in the way of my stats. So I'm going to go with the Hide of the Werewolf. We're going to go with 2 pieces of this. We're going to go with the shoulders. Oops, where is it? It's at the top. So we're going to go with the head and shoulders from this set. And this is just to kind of balance out our characters so we have all of our slots filled. Now, as you can see, right now, we have 9,908 maximum health, 16,000 max stamina. But we also have our attribute points. So we want to get our stats up pretty high. So one of the ways that you can do that is using your attribute points. Another is by using food. So we are going to get some food, but I need to open my consumables. So we're going to grab some food, and we're going to grab just something that most people use, which is blue food, and this gives us max stam, max health. So we're going to use this. This you can get as you level. You can get food like this. But this is what we're going to use. So now we use that. And as you can see, we go to 15k health, 21k stamina. Now, there's a place I like to shoot for. A tool tip I like to shoot for. And that's called 2032. So what I like to do is I like to give myself about as close to 20k health as possible. Just to start with. So I'm just going to put it at 18. I'm just going to put that there. I'm going to take the other 34 and put it into here. Now I have 25k stamina with almost 19k health, as you can see. I do have a really high stamina recovery too. So, and my weapon damage is kind of low. My weapon crit's not the greatest. Now, as you get further into the game, you're going to find out about things like potions. And potions are drinks that you can use to give you different things. Now, most of the potions you're going to find in the game are going to be spell power pots, or spell pots, stamina pots, and health pots. Now, they're going to do one thing only. They're going to give you resource back like this does. It gives you 6,000 stamina, but then it's going to give you minor endurance. So it's going to grant you 20% stam recovery. It's not going to give you major brutality or major savagery. So we're going to just take this and say that we got some stam pots to go with this. So we're just going to treat those as stamina pots. Now, I'm level 50, you know, working on my way, getting up to CP 160. I finally get to CP 160. And because of the champion points, I can actually start placing them in my character's champion system. So as I progress up to CP 160, which comes out to 54 into 2, 53 into a third. So I get to put 54 points into 2 of these trees and 53 into another. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put 54 into these 2, 53 into this one. So when it comes to a new player, you want to start with Hardy and Elemental Defender for CP. This way you can get a decent amount in here. So we're going to put 24 here. Actually, we can go, we're going to go 24 or 23 for now there. And this one will be able to take up to 22. Now, don't worry. Don't stress it, because you'll get this next point pretty quick. So we'll go ahead and put that up to 23. And that together, guys, is 46 points. So you still have some more points that you can put into here. But I would just start with this at first. Then the thing I would focus on is Ironclad. Now remember, from here, we're going up to 53. So from 46 to 53 is 7 points. So we can put 7 points in Ironclad. 4, 5, 6, 7. That's going to put us at 3.4% damage reduction from direct damage. We're going to have 6% here. This is where we want to leave this for now. Now, moving on over into the green tree, we get 54 points. So we actually get a little bit more to spend into here. And what we're going to do is we're going to focus on our recovery. So with a stamina DPS, we're going to focus on this. So we're going to actually take this up to 43 right out. Now, from 43 to 56 or 54, see, yeah, we actually get 43, 11 points to spend into something else. Now, a lot of people might say tenacity, but I'm actually going to go over here and I'm going to actually put it into Warlord, because 11 points in a Warlord is going to put you at 5% break free cost. This is going to save you some stamina if you have to break free. Now we're going to move over to the blue tree, and since for stamina DPS, we're going to do something very similar here. We're going to put 43 into Mighty. This is going to boost our physical, poison, and disease damage. And this is going to give you 43 here. We have 11 points left over. We're going to put them right into Precise Strikes, just like the other one, giving us another 5% in our critical damage. Now, this is where our character is going to be at CP 160. By CP 160, we'll also be able to unlock some more skill stuff. So, we're going to go ahead and drop this and turn off the skill advisor. And we're going to go ahead and fill in some other stuff here. So, we're going to go ahead and fill in Ruffian. And we're going to go ahead and unlock Blade Cloak as well, or Deadly Cloak. And we're going to put this down here, just like that. The other thing we're going to do is we're going to unlock Hidden Blade, and we're going to unlock Shrouded Daggers. And we're going to trade this out with Fury, or Bloodthirsty. So we're going to do that. On the back bar, we're going to kind of leave this the way it is. We're just going to move this over. We're going to drop Vigor. We're going to move this over, and this over. By this time, you should have been working on your Fighters Guild, so you can work on unlocking some of these. Now, we're going to unlock Dawnbreaker, Flawless Dawnbreaker. We're going to put this on the front bar as our main ultimate. And on the back bar, we're going to leave Corrosive Armor. Now, we're also going to unlock Trap Beast, and we're going to use Rearming Trap. And then we're going to do Intimidating Presence. We're just going to fill in some of these. Just like that. Now, we also have been doing some dungeons. We've managed to work our way up to 2 ranks in this and 1 in this. So we are this and this. This gives us 1% for max health, stamina, and magicka. But because we've been doing dungeons, we've had a chance to get a monster set. Now, monster sets are great. They're helm and shoulder pieces that give us a way to build out our character some more. So we're going to go in here. We're just going to pick one at random. So I'm just going to scroll through and pick. So this is what we're going for. Shadowrend. Not the greatest one, but it is a monster set you can use. So we still like the setup that we've been using, but we want to go with the heavy and a light here. So we're going to go with this. Oops. And where's my shoulders? There they are. So now we've got the head and shoulders of the Shadowrend. And as you can see, now we have 19,000 health with 24k stamina. And that's because we gave up that extra bonuses we had on these. So because we gave up that, this set came with healthy, and this set came with magicka. We're going to go ahead and change those out to being both stamina enchants, because we don't need the extra stuff. So we're going to go in here, we're going to grab stamina, 2 of them, and we're going to put those on here. Now these are going to give us a little bit higher stats here. So we're up to 26 and 18k. We're still okay on our stats. We're gaining more because that we have those points in here. And the thing you have to understand about CP is every time you put points into the red tree, the green tree, or the blue tree, you earn attributes. So the more points you put in here, you get health, you get stamina, you get magicka. And you get a maximum of 20% increase because of these. Now, because of the Undaunted thing here, as you can see now it says 3%. And that's because you increase your max health, stamina, and magicka by 1% per type of armor worn. So if you're wearing 5 medium like I am, 1 heavy, 1 light, you will get 3%. But if you actually unlock this all the way, you'll go up to 6%. So now, if you look at my character, I have 18k health, 26, almost 27k stamina, but I still have CP points to spend. So we're not going to go back to the CP yet. We're going to pretend like this is our character. We're running the world. We're doing quests. We're doing dungeons. We have a really good, decent build for what we're doing. But we're still lacking in some areas. Our crit's really low. Our stamina's recovery is really high. We don't need so much. We're starting to learn that we don't need as much stamina recovery because we're using our passives in our class to help with our resources now. Now we're using things like Battle Roar, which whenever we use an ultimate, we restore 46 health, magicka, and stamina for each point of ultimate cost. We're using a lot of Dawnbreakers, so we're getting almost 3,000 back for dropping Dawnbreaker because of this. We're also getting Helping Hands every time we activate an Earth and Heart ability, which we're using this. Every time we activate this, we get 990 stamina. So we're activating this every time we do our rotation. And I'll get to rotations as well. But for now, we're going to stick to this. So you're still learning the game. So this is going to help you maintain resources. So you don't need as much in stam recovery. So you want to do something else. You want to make your character a little bit more powerful. So you start looking into jewelry enchants. And there's a lot of different jewelry enchants. There's health recovery, there's magic recovery, there's stamina recovery, There's reduced spell cost. There's reduced feat cost, which reduces your stamina costs. There's the shield play ones for shield, sword and shield. There's potion boosts, ones that increase the duration of your potion effects by 3.6 seconds. Ones that reduce the potion cooldown timers. There's all kinds of these. But the one you want to look at is things like increased weapon damage. So we're going to grab these three right here. We're going to increase our weapon damage across our jewelry. So there we go. Now we've got 2,390 weapon damage. We've got a 30% critical. Now the one other thing that we're missing is something called a Mundus Stone. Now Mundus Stone, Mundus Stones are all over the game world. And they're mostly in the base game. So they're going to be in the main parts of Cyrodiil. Or Tamriel. They're going to be in Cyrodiil. They're going to be in all the faction locations for the Aldemary Dominion, the Ebonheart Pact, and the Daggerfall Covenant is where you're going to mostly find the Mundus Stones. Now, you can find them in other locations and other places, but these are the main locations they're at. And you're going to want to find a Mundus Stone that's going to help you with your playstyle, your build, that kind of thing. So we're going to go over here and we're going to look and see what we can get that can help us with our build and our playstyle. So there's the Warrior. What's the Warrior do? Ooh, it increases our weapon damage. That might not be too bad, but our crit's not super high. There's the Tower. This would increase our stamina. That might be pretty good. What about the Thief? Oh, this increases our weapon and spell critical. We're going to go with this so we can increase that weapon and spell crit. Now you have to also remember, a lot of the gear you're going to be wearing isn't going to have the traits that this one, that I have set up right now. So as you can see, our spell crit, our weapon crit all of a sudden just jumped to 41%. And that's because all the gear we're wearing is Divines. And that's going to give us a really high boost in what our Mundus Stone does for us. So that's something you have to look at, is Divine's gear and how it affects you and the traits on the gear. Now, Divines is one trait. There's a lot of different traits for your armor, your weapons, your jewelry. And the best way to find out what traits you have available to you in the game is actually to go to the Clockwork City, if you have the Clockwork City DLC, and go to what's called the Transmutation Station. Here you'll be able to look at and see all the transmutation options you have available to you in the game. So you have Powered, you have Charged, Infused. This is just weapon ones. Defending, Training, Sharpen, Decisive, and Nirnhoned. Each of these offer different things for what you might want to do with the weapon or what have you. What we're going to do is we're not going to worry about that right now. We're the monster set one or the jewelry ones. But there is a lot you have to know about the game in order to make the proper build. So here we are. We're decked out. We've got some decent gear still. You know, we're still rocking our Night Mothers. We're still rocking our Griffins. And if you look, Night Mothers gives us 2 weapon damage, some stam recovery, some max stamina. We're still almost at 1,000 stam recovery here. We have good resource management, but our stats are still kind of meh. So what we're going to do is we're going to finish filling out our CP real quick. So I'm going to go in here, and we're going to go up to CP, the max CP that we can reach in the game. So now you got to also remember, I didn't put all my points in here. So we're going to do that now. We're going to put this up to 24. This up to 24. And this up to 11, I think it was. Or no, it was 7. So there we go. We'll see we got 3.4 there. And then we're going to go over to the green tree. We're going to put our 11 into here. And our 43 into here. And then we're going to do the same thing over here with our stuff. We're going to go 43 and 11. Now we're going to lock it in. Now we're going to go out here and we're going to look. So we have 20k health, 30k stamina because of this. So what we're going to do is we're going to respec. Now, in the game, you can go to these shrines that allow you to respec. Here, luckily enough, I can do it wherever I want because I can just do that. So I'm going to go ahead and respec my attribute points. This will remove all the attribute points I've spent on my character. Now you can do this at any time you want in the game. So what we're going to do now is we're going to put 10 into here. We're actually going to take this up to 4, and we're going to get 18k again. We're going to take that 50 and just dump it all into here. Now we're at 32k stamina. This is where we're perfect. We are almost perfect in our build. Because as you can see, we have a 50% weapon crit, and then a 65% spell crit, or weapon crit on the back bar. But our weapon damage is 28-21. So we have really good, decent weapon damage. We are viable, guys, for doing veteran content. That means veteran dungeons and veteran trials. We are capable of doing that now. We are not geared 100% yet. We don't have the traits we want in our weapons. We don't have the, you know, all that kind of stuff done, but we're working towards it. Now, you start doing trials, and you start doing the Maelstrom Arena. And you're using this same build, and finally you figure out Maelstrom Arena's setup, you learn the mechanics, you do it, you finish it, you unlock your Maelstrom Bow. This might take you about 20 runs, maybe more, but eventually you get your Maelstrom Bow. So we're going to go ahead and grab this, and we're going to throw this on here. Now this is something, this is just, remember, this is just stamina. Magicka is a lot different. I will be doing a video possibly on Magicka if you guys like this. So now that we got the Maelstrom Bow, we throw it on our character, we've got it infused, we've switched bars, here we go, look at this, this is amazing, it does a lot more damage because we got it in gold, you know, we upgraded it because we got it infused, we got it in the trait we wanted. Now, let's do something about that enchant on that weapon. So over here, we're going to look at the weapon enchants. Again, there's a lot of them, guys. A lot of different ones you can get. But since this was your bow and it's your back bar, we're actually going to grab this. We're going to actually use this increased weapon damage and spell damage. So we're just going to grab that and throw that on the bow. Now, a lot of you guys are probably wondering, why are you still using the Griffin set if it gives you that minor, with the benefit it has? Because we are using Trap Beast, which gives us minor force. And that Griffin set gives us minor force as well, and minor expedition. So we don't really need this set anymore. So we're going to try and get a different set to replace it. So we've been running, we got our Maelstrom Bow, now we're going to start running a trial. And we actually finish a trial and happen to get a full set of trial gear. The trial set we wind up getting is one that everyone wants us to get, and that's Reliquant. Now, we only get it in the basic. We do not get it in the perfected. We get it in the basic. So we are going to replace our main set with that. So here we go. We've got our main set. We've just changed it out with Reliquant. We're all decked out. We've got this really good monster set to some degree, but we've got this really powerful set now for our DPS. But we want another set that's going to replace this one and be better. So we run around in the game, we find another set that we think might work for us. And we go for it. It's another trial set, another medium armor trial set. So here we are, we're running, we've done it a few times, and we actually come across this set called Two-Fanged Serpent. Now when you deal damage, your physical penetration is increased by 8,330. So we're going to go ahead and take this set for now until we can get the set we're looking for, which is Advancing Yodokai. Now this is another trial set, but for now we've gotten this one. Now remember, we're going to put weapon damage across here, not that stam recovery. And we're also going to grab the dual wield weapons. But this time, when we get the dual wield weapons, we actually get a mace and a dagger. Instead of a axe and sword, we actually get a mace and dagger. So here we are, we have the full Two-Fanged Serpent, we have the full Reliquant. Now we want to get a better monster set. And this is what the game's all about. It's about farming out what you want for your character to have. So we're going to look through here, we're going to find a really good monster set. And this is probably by far one of the best monster sets right now in the game, Stormfist. But we're not going to get that one. We're actually going to go down here and grab we'll grab Spawn and Mafala. We get this set. And it's not a bad set. It's just not one that I would recommend because it requires you doing a heavy attack. But we happen to get this one. So we get this in heavy. We get this in the light shoulders. Now we've got a different monster set. But it's something that kind of relates to us because it's poison based. So we have this thing that does a dot of poison damage. We have this which does a dot of ticking damage. And then we have this which doesn't do a dot of ticking damage. This just increases our critical chance or our damage that we do. Now this kind of a setup isn't ideal, guys. It really isn't. A lot of times what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to change out your weapon enchant or your weapon traits to something better. So we're going to do that. We're going to change this to infused and this to infused. Alright. So now that we've got those changed out to infused, we can actually use some weapon enchants on those two main weapons. So now we're going to get those decked out. We're going to go ahead and grab something that we think is going to be good. So poison would be good with what? Well, in this case, we're going to go with an absorbed stamina. So this is the one thing you have to understand about these. Is this does physical damage, this does magic damage. This does magic damage. But this does physical damage, and it gives you stamina back when you use it. So we're going to use those. We're going to enchant the axe with the absorb, or the poison one. And we're going to put the absorb stamina on this one. So what's going to happen is when we attack from our back bar, we're going to get an enchant that's going to boost our weapon damage. We're going to get another enchant here that's going to proc poison damage, and another one that's going to proc physical damage with stamina return. Now, still not decked out the best we can be, but we managed to get our two weapons upgraded to the highest quality they can, which is legendary. We got our gear all decked out to some degree. We're not fully to where we want to be yet still. But what we're going to do real quick, because I want to get this done, we're going to go ahead and change out one of our armor enchants, or our two armor enchants as well. We're going to go and change them out with one stamina, and we're going to grab 3 prismatics here. Because we're going to stick with this build for a while, because we don't want to farm a bunch of stuff yet to try and get our character decked out. So what we're going to do is we're going to stay with this for a little bit. Now watch what happens as I do this. So here we go. We have 11k magicka, we have 20k health, we have 32k stamina still. And we haven't even done the rest of our CP. Now, we've managed to get to 300 CP. So, what do we do next? We go into here, we do the same thing that we did earlier. But this time, we take this up to 43. We're just going to do this. So we have 10% in both these. We still have... I forget how many points, but I think we can take this up to 28. So we should be able to do that again over here. We should be able to take this up to 43. Now that's almost 100. We still have some points left over. We're going to put, I think it's 6 into here. Yeah, 6 into there. We're done. There. Now we're going to go over here and we're going to do the same thing over here, but here... Instead, what we're going to do is we're going to take this up to 23 and this up to 43. Or 40. Now, that's not exactly perfect, so we're just going to go ahead and spin the points. Because I'm going to do the math real quick. Okay, so this is over 100. That one's spent over 100 altogether. And this one's over 100. So now we're over 100 points. So we get our maximum stat bonuses. Now we are at max. So we have 20k health, 33k stamina. But remember how we have our points set up here. We don't need that much. So what we're going to do now is we're going to respec one more time. And like I said, we're going to be running this build for a while like this, so we want to make sure that we're perfectly established. So here we go, guys. We are at our maximum stat potential for this character. We have 35k stamina, 18k health. Our weapon damage is going to be a lot higher than that because we're going to make some weapon enchants to go with it. Just got to find the right things. Oops, and I got to upgrade my skills for it. So let's go into here. We're going to say that we did some crafting work and everything. We've mastered our enchanting. So we can make our enchants. And I'm going to make 3 weapon damage enchants to put on my weapons. Now I'm still not where I would be in a perfect spot. But like I said, we know we're going to be running around in this gear for a while, or in this setup, so we're just leaving it as is. We're not changing anything, we're not adding anything, we're going to leave it like it is. Now you can see we have 52% crit on the front bar. On the back bar we have 59% crit. We have a lot of weapon and spell crit now. We're doing pretty good. Now, we have those power pots. Those stamina power pots that I acquired earlier. Now we're going to actually have these available to us. We're actually using them. So we have the weapon damage. We have the major savagery, which increases our crit. We have the stamina recovery. So there's some skills that we don't need anymore. One of the skills we don't need is this. So we're going to go ahead and drop this. We're going to keep this. And we're going to move the, we're going to leave that the way it is. But what we're going to do instead is we're just going to go grab our old vigor skill and throw it back in here. But we're going to make it resolving vigor. So here we look is what we look like now. We have a lot of dots on the front bar. We have a bleed, a poison dot, a damage, and a poison dot. And then another damage over time. We have damage over time. We have a damage over time, a dot, a heal, and another dot. So this build, as you can see right now, we're doing a lot. We have a lot of dots on this build. And we're really set up the way we want it to be. But let's see how well it can do in a rotation. Because we're sitting here at 724 stamina recovery. We don't know how well we're going to work out. We're going to go ahead and fire off all of our skills and do our rotation. So potion, fire, trap beast, light attack, poison arrow, light attack, endless hail, swap bars. I'm just gonna do a full setup here, guys. Sorry. Do a heavy attack, get some stamina back, another heavy attack. Gonna heal some people in my group. There you guys go. So we're pulling some decent DPS. We got 25k Not insanely bad. It's actually pretty good. It's not the greatest, but we're gonna go ahead and do something real quick just so I can pull up the actual information on that so you guys can see for yourselves. Oops, cancel that. Cancel that order. Alright, here we go. So here's what it looks like. We had a total of 3,935 weapon damage. We had a 62% crit most of the time, 75% critical damage, and 10,000 penetration with this build. We had really good penetration with this build because we have Noxious Breath doing that. What it needs to. We have a lot of stuff here, as you can see, doing some decent damage. We're not doing insane damage, but we're doing decent. We're still not done with CP, guys. So we're going to go in and finish off the CP growth of our character. Our character keeps growing. We're still sticking with the same build because we really like it. But we go ahead and finish off getting all of our stuff done here how we want it in our CP. And now we've progressed to max CP, guys. Like I said, we are doing really good. I don't know why I put points into that. I'll have to fix it in a minute. Actually, I'm just going to do this, and then I'm going to hit redistribute and take out of here. I'm not worried about that 1 point really right now, so we're going to leave that as is. We're going to go over here. We're going to take this up. Alright, so our CP is all done. As you can see, nothing changed here. It's all still the same. 35, 18, 11, and that. So now what we're going to do is one last thing. We're actually going to change our jewelry traits. Because we're still doing good. We still like the build. But we're going to go ahead and change the jewelry traits just so we have it done. And we're going to do one other thing. We're also going to upgrade the quality of our gear. 2 gold. I gotta do this. Sorry, guys. My bad. But we're gonna go ahead and finish this out real quick, just so you guys can see what this build looks like, fully finished, and with the same setup we have now. Now, is this build viable for in-game? Yes. Is it the best build for in-game? No, not even close. But it works for in-game. It's not a true, like, super amazing, phenomenal thing, but it still does what it needs to do, and it is viable for in-game. It is not a truly spectacular in-game build, like I said. So let's go ahead and do this. We're gonna just upgrade, not that. We'll upgrade this. And remember, guys, I'm not even wearing the best Reliquin stuff. I'm just using this as a tool to kind of show people what they can do for themselves in the game, what they can do to make themselves better to some degree, that kind of thing. So that's it. It's just a tool to describe. Nothing more. Everything's going to go up, by the way. Oops. Oh, I'm using the wrong weapons again. Yeah. I already did those. Alright, so we got everything golded out. The only thing we need to do is change the traits on our jewelry. And we want it to be something that's going to give us a greater advantage in the long run. So we're going to go ahead and change this to a Bloodthirsty, because we heard that Bloodthirsty, you know, increases the damage to enemies under 25% health. So we want to do that. And then we want to change our rings to infuse. This will give us greater weapon damage. Now you gotta understand, I'm still using the Thief Mundus Stone, and I'm not gonna change that. And the reason I'm not gonna change that is because I still want that really high crit. But you can notice that my weapon damage now is 3,088. Now if I drink my potion, it goes to 3,590. I actually get over 4k weapon damage now. So my rotation that I did here, where I got to 3,935, I will still be around this, maybe a little higher with this setup, maybe around 4,200 weapon damage. Same amount of crit, same amount of critical damage, but I will be at a much lower stamina pool, because I did lose 3k stamina. But if you look, I'm still in that 32k range, and with this and toughness, minor toughness, I will be over 20k health. So I'm still in the range I wanted to be for that, and I'm in the range for all this other stuff. So let's go just do a quick rotation again on this target dummy and see how things go this time with this new change. So now that everything's buffed out and everything, oops, I did skip that. That was a mistake. Alright, so what did we pull this time? 31,519. So, probably not a huge difference to some people. I mean, we're talking like a 6k difference. But that's a 6k difference over what I was at before. And I said 4,200 weapon damage. We have an 11,503 physical pin now. If you look, our Endless Hails actually did a little bit more damage this time. Our Reliquin did some more. Poison Enchants. All that stuff was doing a little bit more damage. Nothing insane, nothing crazy. So is this a viable in-game build? Yes. Is it perfect? No, not by any means. Does it work? Yes. And that's what I wanted to show you, is there is a lot of options in this game. These are just one of the many options you have available in the game. Now, if you are going for a competitive in-game build, I would suggest using Reliquin, Advancing Yodokai, Maelstrom Bow, and the Yodokai jewelry, weapons, and then using the Reliquin on the body, and then the monster set I would use Storm Fist, and it wouldn't matter what I was playing, whether I was playing a DK, Sork, doesn't matter. Use that setup on any stamina build, and it works out really well. So, but that's pretty much it, guys, for this guide. I hope it came in handy and it's helpful to your understanding, and it teaches you kind of like where you need to take your character as you progress. And again, remember, any set you can use in the game is going to give you some benefit. It's not that all sets are bad, it's just a lot of them are there to help you get to the direction you need to be. Now, if you don't plan on doing a lot of trials or this and that, you can still get some of these sets in normal trials to help you play in dungeons and stuff. Now, because I picked the perfected Reliquin, or the imperfect Reliquin, and didn't get the perfected, as you can see, I picked the most basic one. Now, if I was using the perfect one, I'd actually have a 33k stamina, 18k health, and I would still have this amount of weapon damage, this amount of crit, all that. So, and if I was using Advancing Yodokai, I would actually get more crit than penetration, but I'd still have 2 crit, 1 weapon damage. I wouldn't have the extra max stam from it like I do from this set, and the extra weapon damage. I mean, I'd have the weapon damage and crit, but I'd have an extra crit in there as well. So I'd actually be lower in stamina. I'd actually be at 32k with the other setup, running Stormfist. And my stam recovery would be a little bit higher. But I'm using a lot of sets that give me max stam for this. But as you saw, that with, again, with the one I was running here, I was actually getting some pretty decent damage. And my monster set, the Spawn of Mafala, actually fired off 61 times in total. And it didn't do insanely bad damage. It did decent damage. So, and you got to think, this is one monster set out of many. And not the best one. But I just kind of, like I said, I just wanted to show you guys how you can set up a build and how easy it is that your character can grow in power. If I would have done a rotation with the first set of gear that I started with, I would have only done about 18k, 19k. And then I went to 25, and then to 31. And I'm still not at the best optimal build I can be at. That by the time I got there, I would actually be at 42 or higher k in DPS. And I'm not that great on rotations, so. But yeah, I just thought you guys would like to see this, how to put together a build as you progress, that kind of thing. If you do like the video, go ahead and hit that like button. If you guys want to see more videos by me, you can subscribe. Other than that, I want to thank you all for watching. Until next time, have a wonderful day, and this guy might see you in game. Bye.